If you watched my stream on Tuesday, you saw that I tried to play Aurora in Living Legend, and it honestly just felt like she wasn't good enough. With that in mind, I'm pivoting to Briar for the time being because I think Briar still gives us that Runeblade feeling that I like, and we also have an opportunity to try and win some more games. Now, one of the first games that I ran into playing Briar was against an Iyslander. Icelander's looking to disrupt you at instant speed with cards like Channel Lake Frigid, or they're looking to disrupt you on their own turn with cards like Red Ether Ice Vein to be able to take cards out of your hand. So it's still disruption, it's just a little different with what it looks like. But then they're also looking to use attacks like Wounded Bull and Fyendal's Fighting Spirit to be able to push physical damage, gain some life, and then try to split up how they're attacking you so that it makes you think about what you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to block them out effectively to make sure you don't die to some Stormstrider's nonsense. From the Briar point of view, we're looking to use things like Plunder Run to be able to draw some extra cards. We're also looking to be able to utilize Snatch. This is a great 0 for 4 attack that can draw some extra cards and really set up. Another great attack is going to be Nimby. Nimby allows us to search up a Nimblism out of our deck so that we can set up our arsenal and keep applying that pressure. And then my favorite card is going to be Burn Up and Shock. Burn Up and Shock not only serves as a shock at instant speed, but this non-attack action gives us the ability to put a boom grenade in play. So it lets us convert our hand if we don't have a ton of go again. It also gives us a possibility to be able to set up an embodiment of lightning with 2 non-attack actions from Briar's hero ability so that we can generate our own go again if it's needed. So even though this matchup is very close, it's really all about who's able to see some of their better stuff first. And is Briar able to put Iyslander on the back foot, or is Iyslander being disruptive from the start of the game? Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoyed the match. All right, we're playing against Iyslander, and we are going second. In and seems okay. I think we'll just pass. I think I'm pretty content with this hand and just kind of like playing it out. So we're going to go Entwine Lightning, fusing with Regrowth and Shock, just to try and get aggressive here. Leading up on a 0 for 4 just to kind of start the turn. Our opponent does not play anything at instant speed. They also say no blocks. Defense reaction incoming. Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me. They want to end on a defense reaction. All right, we're going to break the combat chain. We're going to play both sides of Regrowth and Shock to see how they play this out. They do have AB1 in the form of Metacarpus nodes, so they're able to block this out if they need to, or if they don't want to give me the Entwine Lightning back. Cold Snap gives me a Frostbite. Okay. I don't care about my arsenal being frozen. Are they going to pay 1, or are they going to hit me with Waning Moon? Okay, they're going to mental block. I'm assuming the shock is them. All right, so they let the prevention go. We've now played both sides. We're not able to activate Grasp. We can just go 2 and 2, I guess, is fine. Because we played an attack. We played an attack and a non-attack action, so we'll just go ahead and go 2 and 2. I wonder if we're supposed to be on Tunic instead of AB in this matchup. Tunic's probably a little bit better. Hadn't really considered Tunic over that, but it does make sense. They're going to Waning Moon us. Okay, just kidding. I was like, them deciding to Waning Moon over just blocking the Rosetta Thorn is very interesting. And then they'll probably just let the 2 connect. Well, I guess they take 1 because of the mental block. So they end up taking 1 total point on this turn, and we're going to Arsenal the Snatch. Wounded Bull comes in for 8. Do we want to block? I mean, we could go Anthem of Spring into Snatch. Feels pretty good. I think we'll just go ahead and block 5. We'll just block some physical here. think just blocking physical damage is perfectly okay. Trying to get the value out of all of this. So Anthem of Spring. I mean, to be fair, playing Anthem of Spring instead of blocking with it is not the best thing in the world. We're basically just setting this up because it gives us the ability to create that embodiment of lightning for our Snatch. And then Snatch is going to come in for 6 go again. I do like Face Purgatory in this matchup quite a bit. I think that Face Purgatory has some like real potential value. They ripped into an Insidious Chill off the top of their deck. Yep. We're going to break both of these. This is going to be 6 go again. And then I'm also going to attack with the Snuff Out. It's possible we're supposed to attack with the Rosetta Thorn instead of the Snuff Out here, but this is a pretty good turn for us to be able to try and get aggressive. That Insidious Chill has some serious potential to come back and like really haunt us later. Oh, they're gonna give us this. Interesting. Well, we don't have the ability to make an embodiment here. Are we just gonna Arsenal this? I think I'm pretty content with just arsenaling this, to be honest. They're trying to keep their hand. They probably have like an Ether Ice Vein in their hand. And so I think that just throwing the Snuff Out makes it to where they can't play it out this way. I don't know, like that's what my gut is telling me, is that they have an Ether Ice Vein and they want to fuse with something like a Channel Lake Frigid, probably. Channel Lake Frigid and a Scar for a Scar. All right, well, that's fine. We'll just Arsenal the Regrowth and Shock and just set up here. Embodiment pops, they do not respond. We're going to play both sides of Regrowth and Shock. I don't think they're getting a priority window. I don't think they have anything that I don't think they Arsenal to blue. It looks like they do not have a priority window that they're looking for here. They're going to pay to be able to block this. I think that makes a lot of sense. Plunder Run is also a very solid piece for us. We're going to go E-Strike, draw a card. Drawing into a Skyward Serenade is pretty solid. Because instead of throwing Rosetta Thorn, we get to play Serenade, go get a Skyzyk. Them being forced to Arsenal the red Ether Ice Vein last turn, like, I'm convinced that that's what it was. Or maybe it's like a Wounded Bull. I don't know. Like, I'm convinced they Arsenal to red, though. So they block like this. We're going to break the combat chain. It's going to be Skyward Serenade, create an embodiment, search for a Skyzyk. Skyzyk for 4 go again is pretty impactful. If they don't have a defense reaction in hand, or they don't want to give up their Coronet peak here, we are in a very, very good position to be able to draw off of Plunder Run and then still throw the Rosetta Thorn here. Throwing Ravenous Rabbles just better than throwing Rosetta Thorn because they have... It's just better than throwing the Rosetta Thorn because they have 2 floating, right? So they're going to hit us. Ooh, they can't Waning Moon us. They haven't played anything this turn. I wonder if they're just going to like Coronet peek us or something. Okay, so it was a Fighting Spirit. We'll block here and take 6. I'm pretty comfortable taking 6. Our hand is pretty solid. Our hand has a pretty good impact, and they're off of an Arsenal now. So they wanted to go Scar for a Scar into Fyendal's Fighting Spirit 2 turns ago. We're going to put CMH into play. We're going to come in with Rabble. I know back in the day, everybody would say, oh, actually, this is incorrect. I'm sorry. They may not let us take this back. We're supposed to Plunder Run here because we want to be able to draw an extra card. And we're supposed to lead on Skyzyk because we have the embodiment. So this is 7 on hit draw card. Even though we're not able to Arsenal the Plunder Run, using it as an embodiment kind of sets up well. But I know a lot of times back in the day, people used to take out CMH against Iyslander because they didn't want to get got the second they went to play it with like their only blue, and then they're in like a weird spot, which I think is fair. Um, I haven't played this matchup in a long time, so it's possible we're not supposed to be on CMH in this matchup. I don't know. I know that towards the end of Iyslander Briar like matchup shelf life, a lot of people actually started coming back to playing Channel Mount Heroic because they were more interested in like just trying to push as much raw damage as they could. But you are giving more windows of opportunity for the Iyslander player. All right, so we got a 2 block and a 3 block. They're currently blocking for 5. I keep expecting them to like try and like maneuver the game in a way where like they're able to get like a blue Ether Ice Vein into their arsenal. Okay, so they're gonna block 7. We're gonna throw Ravenous Rabble for value here. Finding a Nimbilism on top. Because we have 3 copies of Nimby in our deck, I'm pretty comfortable just like pitching this to Thorn and keeping this in the deck. I know that normally like arsenaling this would be pretty good, but the shields are down for our opponent. So I'm pretty comfortable to just like push the 3 extra damage here as opposed to trying to set up for next turn. Maybe this is me greeting. Maybe I'm supposed to try and set up for next turn because we want to make sure that we have the ability to like keep our turns going. We're going to put Anthem of Spring on the bottom. All right, so this is going to be 7 go again. There is no on-hit effect here, but this is going to be 7 go again, and then I'm going to throw... I think I'm going to throw the Nimby. I don't know. Maybe that's incorrect. Maybe I'm supposed to throw the Snatch and make them think about it here. We want to arsenal the Lightning Surge regardless. I really wish we had Snaps right now. Snaps would be insane because we could go Nimby, get a Nimbilism, Snap. Let's just throw... Man. Let's throw the Nimby. We'll get a Nimbilism for next turn, and we'll just set up. We do get to shuffle our deck this way. We're going to Arsenal the Lightning Surge so that we have go again for next turn. It's worth mentioning that arsenaling the Nimbilism wouldn't have really have done anything there for us. Like, it would have been fine, but our opponent taking some damage, just trying to get back on an arsenal. They're just trying to get back into a position where they feel like they can actually accomplish something, which I think is fair. This hand lines up really, really well. So we're going to go Plunder Run. I'm supposed to lead on Nimbilism here for sure. We're going to go Plunder Run and a Nimbilism, which means this Snatch is for 7. On hit, draw 2 cards. This is a pretty impactful turn, especially when we're up 31-12. I don't remember this matchup feeling this bad from the Iyslander side. I also don't remember being on like Scars in this matchup. I felt like Scars were for like other matchups, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I played Iyslander. And to be fair, I don't think I was the best Iyslander player. I was still like, you know, kind of like learning the game from like a competitive scene at that point, so I wasn't the best Iyslander player in the world. They block with a red Ether Ice Vein and a Sink Below from hand. Ooh, they're going to hit us with the Hypothermia. And letting us draw 2 cards doesn't matter, right? So we didn't have a go again. We did not have an option that would have had go again this turn. Hypothermia is pretty bad. It's pretty backbreaking. I know that was restricted for a while. I wonder if that's a 3 of now or if it's still restricted. I honestly don't remember. It does not look like they put anything on the bottom from the Sink Below here. Okay. I mean, this hand lines up pretty well. This last Skyzyk in our deck feels really bad because our Serenade basically does nothing. Actually, now it's insane. This is so good. Because we're going to pitch our Skyzyk. Yeah, this is pretty good. We'll go ahead and lead on this. I think this is fine. And if they put something like a channel into play, I was like, we have 2 blues in hand, so it worked out very well for us. Because now that they have Tunic up, there could be a turn where they pitch. You have anything we can put back in our deck? We can put a CMH back in the deck, I guess. Yeah, this is fine. But this would be like a very good like put channel into play and use Tunic for Waning Moon kind of turn. Those were some of like the better value turns that those were like some of the better value turns that Iyslander was always able to make when she was in CC. I'm honestly kind of sitting here looking and like wondering, like, would Iyslander even be that powerful in CC right now, or would it just be like, okay? Do we want to Arsenal so tomorrow? If they play an ice card here, it is a blowout now. It does feel pretty bad if they go for it here. Oh no? They're just going to use Tunic to block effectively? So 2 more Arcane and 2 Physical. Okay, so they just fall down to 3, which is pretty aggressive in my opinion. So they're going to fuse with an Amulet of Ice and the Insidious Chill. So we're going to... We're going to play the Burn Up and Shock. I'm going to force you to make this decision now. And then we're going to... Let's target them and see what they do. Is Amulet of Ice more important to you than Arsenaling? It is not. Interesting. Yeah, we'll pay 2. This is fine. And then we're going to AB 1 and then discard the Channel Mount Heroic and then Arsenal the Lightning Surge. And we're going to go down to 25. So this is fine because they've blocked with a ready through Ice Vein. They've played already through Ice Vein. And so now like we're in a world where we're just going to look to Arsenal this Lightning Surge and try to set up the turn that can end the game here. Skyward Serenade's not the best thing in the world. Yellow Ether Ice Vein coming over the top by 1's pretty impactful. And they're over pitching to reveal a Cold Snap. So them having the Cold Snap. Let's think about our turn here for just a second. I want to be able to play around the Cold Snap Frostbite. So we're gonna pitch Serenade to attack with this. If it hits, we'll attack with the Swarming Gloomveil. What if we were to... Are we able to keep it all here? Are we able to do the whole thing? So if I discard the Swarming Gloomveil, or I could discard the Serenade, I guess. No, we're going to discard the Gloomveil. And then I'm going to AB 1 with Force of Nature. Yeah, this lines up pretty well. We're going to AB 1 with Force of Nature and then pay 2 so that we can try to save some life. And then we know they have a Cold Snap in Arsenal, so we're in a pretty good spot. So we're going to lead on Lightning Surge so the Cold Snap does not blow us out. And then even through the Cold Snap Frostbite, which does cost them a card instead of using Tunic, which is pretty important here. Because if they were able to use Tunic, they would get to have a 5-card blocking hand. This lines up pretty well. One of the things that would be pretty bad for us would be Blizzard. Blizzard would create some headaches here, but there's not much we can do about playing around that. If they play Blizzard, we'll pay, and then we'll just attack with the Thorn, because that'll be all the resources we'll have. That'll take all 5 resources. You pay 2 into the Blizzard, and then you have 3 resources to pay for 2 Frostbites and Rosetta Thorn. It'll only be for 2 physical damage, but if they're playing Blizzard, it means that they're blocking with something else, so that lines up pretty well for us. They're just willing to take 1 here. Okay. So no Blizzard means I can close the combat chain. I can play both sides of Everbloom in Life, pitching Serenade. They would have to crack Stormstriders to respond, which I think is incorrect. What do we want to put back into the deck? Skyzyk? And how many Serenades do we have over here? There's 1 Serenade and a Skizzik left. I say we put back like a Snatch or an Entwine Lightning is probably what I'm thinking here. Yeah, let's go Entwine Lightning. I think putting that back in will be better. And then we get to come in for 2 and 2. This admittedly only takes 1 more card out of their hand, or they could give up the Coronet Peak if they wanted to. But I think this is fine. I think this is still going to be good enough. All right, so we get a Frosting out of their hand. Kind of just playing to like the strengths of what we're doing. Ooh, they're going to pitch an extra card to hit us for 2. Okay, so Hypothermia is not restricted. Hypothermia is a 3 of. If they're willing to pitch Hypothermia here, they must have a channel they're going to arsenal. It's the only thing I can think of. Like, they either have a second Hypothermia or they have a channel that they're like willing to sit on here. I mean, channel's looking pretty rough for us here. They're going to respond to the embodiment. Yeah, and play the channel. Channel is admittedly looking pretty rough. How many Nimbilisms are left in the deck? 2. So this is going to cost a full blue. We'll go ahead and pitch this. Actually going to cost... Oh, because of the channel, it's going to cost an extra one. We'll pitch this. Create a Rune Champ. Force them to decide how they want to play this. And then we'll pitch the Anthem of Spring, because we're going to be able to Arsenal and Nimbilism and try to set up for next turn. Our opponent doing a good job of like hanging on here. And with the channel like being so disruptive and the Insidious chill in play, like they're probably just going to forego the Waning Moon activation. Yeah, and they're going to block this. And then we get to tutor up a Nimbilism. That's not what I wanted. I clicked too fast. What I get for listening to noises around my room. They're just going to block 3. They'll probably pitch to Coronet Peak to keep channel around, which makes a lot of sense. They'll pitch an Ice Blue, Arsenal a card that they feel like they could set up with. Like, they might be better off to actually, like, block differently in Arsenal this Yellow Ether Ice Fane, because, like, having it in Arsenal could be pretty good, right? We're going to Arsenal the Nimby. Or the Nimbilism, sorry. Yikes. A little bit of a clunker. Um, we would be giving up our only attack to Purgatory them, but it keeps the channel off the field. If I take 4 and go to 16, and then they Purgatory me, I'm letting the Sotomaro go, or I'm sorry, and then they Coronet Peak me. Man, I don't know how much I like this. We need to rip an attack here, but if we do, it's fine. They had a Wounded Bull anyway. Interesting. Wow. So they did not have the ability to keep the channel in play. They were basically just playing the channel to get value. Wow. Nimbilism. There might be an argument to crack Stormstriders here to play an ice card to like slow me down. But I think having one card in hand and one floating means you probably shouldn't. It would have had to have been something like Channel, right? Because it's just non-attack actions, right? Your next Wizard non-attack? Okay, so just kidding. They would have had to... Yeah, that would have been... Like, they couldn't channel this in because it's Wizard non-attack. I don't know if there's anything they could have played. Like, I guess if they hit us with a Red Ether Ice Vein at instant speed. Yeah, that would have been pretty good. If they would have had Red Ether Ice Vein, that would have been pretty solid for them. Our opponent having to think about how they want to block this. I don't really think they can come out of this one alive with... I don't think they can come out of this one alive. We have Thorn after this, and they're at 2. So they would have to block... To live, you have to block your last card in Tunic here, and then you have to pitch to Thorn and block Coronet Peak. I mean, I guess technically you can do it this way. As long as you have a blue to pitch. Like, you have to have a non-red, but if you have a non-red, you're fine, right? What did I miss? How did they only go to 1? Oh, they had the Tunic resource floating? Okay, so they get to keep Tunic this way because they had Tunic floating, but... Man. I guess we'll put a... I guess we'll put an E-Strike on the bottom. This is like a good value card. We're going to play Earthlore Surge, making an embodiment. This is going to be 7 go again. Earthlore Surge just being a next attack action is pretty solid. Because here, again, we're able to go Breakpoint into Rosetta Thorn, which is pretty solid. So they're going to have to give us 2 cards and Tunic, and then it's going to have to be pitch to AB and block with the last card to stay alive here. Which, like, they're probably pretty content to do, but I think we're getting to a point to where, like, not only are they at 1, but we're also fatiguing them. Yeah, seems like a pretty good block. Ooh, Blizzard, not bad, not bad. Okay, so Blizzard basically lets them arsenal a card. Is that the first Blizzard they played all game? Second Blizzard? Some lists were only on 2 for a while. They might be on 3. I'm honestly not sure. All right. No channel, please. Even if it is channel, it's fine. How many Nimbilisms are left in the deck? None. We're going to go again. This is going to be 8 go again. And then if there's not like a Blizzard or an Ice card here, we're in a pretty okay spot. They're hanging on to their arsenal for a minute. Makes me curious to know what it is. And this just should be game now. Them not playing an Ice card to disrupt me here was pretty interesting. 4 reds set me up pretty well. I'm curious to know what they have in their arsenal. And they should have. They did not have an ice card again. That's actually insane. Our opponent not having an ice card is crazy. That's the second time that game that our opponent did not have an ice card there, but we didn't really get punished for the Channel Mount Heroics that game, and we had our blues line up on pretty good spots, so we were able to pull this one out. Turn 3 is the first place where you really see us start to take some tempo, ending the turn on a Snuff Out to be able to like really force cards out of our opponent's hand was really great. They were forced to block with a Scar for a Scar and a Channel Lake Frigid, which is an absolutely massive W for us. Then going into our next turn, we kind of noticed that like our opponent didn't have like a priority window going on. Now, you don't really get this from real life. This is more of a Talishar thing to pick up on. But noticing that they don't have that priority window, we're in an open, like free reign spot to just get super aggressive. So that turn 3 into turn 4, where we were able to strip a lot of cards out of their hand, not let them set up a blue in Arsenal, and we were able to push as much tempo as we wanted on turn 4, really was the first spot where we were able to get on the front foot. On turn 7, we got to see the true value of the card Hypothermia. This card's so powerful that it was once restricted in Living Legend, but now it's free to be a 3 of. Hypothermia is something you really need to watch out for as Briar, because even if you do have a natural go again here or there, which I don't really think there's a ton of in the Briar deck, but even if you do have it, it's going to give you a Frostbite and probably going to cause you to stumble a little bit. So Hypothermia is one of the better cards that Iyslander can look to Arsenal. So make sure if you're playing Briar that you're on the lookout for this card. Guys, if you were watching this and you found a mistake or a playline you think I could do better, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.